Love Talk Radio. Your show is scheduled to start in 1 minute 26 seconds. Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please hold and you'll be able to listen to the show. You are now in the home queue.
Latino Rebels Radio, Julio Rica de Varela, Julito 77, Sunday, April 24th. You're listening live on Blog Talk Radio right now. If you're listening on the internet, it's 10 p.m. on the East Coast, but you might be listening to this as a podcast later on Audio Boom. So one way or another, you're listening to us. And if it's like I always say, if it's 10 p.m. on the West Coast, it means it's 7 p.m. I'm sorry, if it's 10 p.m. on the East Coast, it's 7 p.m. on the West Coast, and that means Shadi said, dude, I got all my coasts all mixed up, Shadi. I'm like, I don't even know what coast I'm on right now.
Where are you right now? Are you in Boston?
Yeah, I'm in Boston. Can I just start this show with one of the funniest things ever?
Go for it.
So my better half, who is the boss of the house, she finally saw Straight Outta Compton today. Okay, she is now she's incredibly obsessed with the entire connection of like.
Are you serious? That is so funny.
She's been searching on the internet and like gangster rap and going, oh, so Dre produced him and him and him. I'm like, yeah. Like she just wasn't an NWA fan back in the day, but now I think she's
eating Ice Cube like flat right now.
Yeah, she's totally like. I think she's gonna start playing Straight Outta Compton in the minivan tomorrow. So I don't know. So it's been a really, really fun day. Actually, I actually was great to watch Straight Outta Compton again. I hadn't seen it in a while.
That's a good movie.
Okay, do you know that? Before we get going, we're going to talk to Theo Louis in a second, but I just need to say this for a second. That movie's almost 3 hours long. That's like The Godfather. Like, it's a long movie.
Yeah.
And, like, it moves so well. Anyways, it's just, I'm getting the, as they say.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm sure you did, LA Girl. I know that. I mean, that was back in your day.
Right. Okay. Well, I was like a junior. I was like a follower, like a 15-year-old follower when all that stuff came out. But yeah,
I know. I just think it's hilarious that all of a sudden, like, my house has become like an NWA like temple, and I don't know what to do with that. Never thought that would be happening, but it is. So anyway, everything else good with you? Welcome back.
Yep. Thank you.
We're happy to have you.
Yeah, I'm happy to be back. It's a little stressful, but it's all good.
As we
I need it.
That's good. Our producer, Christian Enriquez, also is on Family Time, so I am going to be pressing all the buttons and doing all the good things. But before we start, before we bring in Louie in a second, I do want to remind people, if you're listening to this on iTunes or on Audio Boom or live before Wednesday, April 27th, and you are in the tri-state area, preferably northern New Jersey, Latino Rebels will have its second town hall mixer in Jersey City on Wednesday. We're going to be talking about Latinos in the economy. We're going to have the mayor of Perth Amboy, the Honorable Wilda Diaz, who's the first female elected mayor of Perth Amboy. Carlos Medina, who's the chairman of the New Jersey Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, who are sponsoring this event. And the fabulous Lily Hill Bandeta, a good friend of mine. We're going to be at Jersey City's St. Peter's University. It's free. And I just found out, for all you Latinos out there, there'll be free drinks. So there you go.
It'll be free, but I'm not
Mira, claro. A couple other things. Editorial Trend is now officially part of Latino Rebels. If you love fabulous literature, go to our page right now, LatinoRebels.com, and you're going to get 5 ebooks. 5 ebooks for $2. That's it. All 5 for $10. Offer them. You're going to get it
right now.
It's so easy to order. And then finally, we want to thank the fabulous Rosa Clemente, the legendary Rosa Clemente, for her contribution and helping out and supporting Latino Rebels Radio and Latino Rebels. Gracias, Rosa. All right, so I've done all the plugs, so we're going to jump right in. I know, that was pretty good. That was like professional radio, man.
I know, man.
All right, so we have now finished the banter part of Latino Rebels Radio, and now we're going to get serious. We're going to bring in Luis Derego Moreno, also known as Tío Louis, who is the founder and executive producer of Prime Latino Media. He's on Tío Louis. You're with Janice and Julito. How are you?
Gracias for having me on.
Hi, Louis.
Hi.
All right, before we start, you said you thought you were going to be in the studio, and we told you all you had to do was call. First of all, your phone voice is amazing. I love the fact. But are you in a smoking jacket and slippers? That's all I want to know.
I was, but I may be a Latino with Caribbean genes, but I can't stand the heat. And already at the beginning of spring, it is too hot for me. So I am glad that this isn't Skype or that you're not able to view me, because I just ripped off my long sleeve shirt and I am topless as we speak.
Oh, how bad!
Yeah, so I am topless. But one thing I've done, because I had to be on at 9:55 p.m. for the 10 p.m. phone call, is I have not had a drink yet. But the second I hang up, there's a bottle of Luna Sterlina Oxio waiting for me, white wine, to cool me down.
All right, well, listen, you're more than happy to drink if you want while we talk, so it's all good. We're but we really appreciate you having on. So before we get going, let me set the context here. You wrote a piece. This is what happened. You sent an email to several people. You are very connected in the New York scene, especially in the entertainment scene, specifically with Latinos, with multimedia makers, filmmakers, actors. You know a lot of people. Everyone loves you. Everyone loves Tío Louis. You're very active. And you sent an email to a lot of people about the Tribeca Film Festival, and I got it, and I said, hey, Louis, can Latino Rebels publish this if we edit it? And you're like, totally cool. So it's a piece that's on LatinoRebels.com. It was published on April 20th. It's Tío Louis' first byline to Latino Rebels. Congratulations. It's called The Latino Call to Arm in Not Supporting the Tribeca Film Festival. So before I even read it, can you just explain what you wrote? Let's start explaining by what you wrote. Why, talk about what you wrote first, and we're going to dissect all this and spend time talking about it. But the floor is yours, my friend.
As you set the stage, the specialty of Prime Latino Media, which I founded, I'm the executive producer. It's 4 years old, but I've been in the industry championing Latinos and other people of color, and also LGBT voices, people with disabilities, basically championing, where's our voice at the table? Because we know that many times worse than being misrepresented is being omitted from storytelling. So to that effect, bring us to the present, form this organization with the largest network on the East Coast of Latino multimedia makers, actors, and musicians. Now we've included in the fold. And I'm also from the school of thought, don't give me a problem unless you have a solution. So, there are people, in my camp who are just whiners and bitch away. And I like to be proactive. But, the question is, and I'll put this up to the two of you, what do you do after a while of trying to help to be part of the solution, and it falls on deaf ears? How do we respond? What do we do? And I don't consider myself an activist. It's a label and a title I don't like to take on. But I also don't like to be a doormat. And I, worse than anything, hate to have our community ignored and not allow me to fold. Because again, when we're not at the table and others are telling our story in an unauthentic voice, and we're not showing our artistry, and I'm not looking for charity. Give us 50% of the battle is just getting the door to open. If we can get the door open and demonstrate some of our proven Latino multimedia makers and actors and musicians who make music for film, television, web series, and so on, give them a chance at that. Then if you don't like their product, that's okay. But if they're not given a chance at that, it's only unfair. So I'm bad at math. I started this letter, this call to arms, but I'm great at statistics. And Clemente came out with a story about, the Latino phones, at Tribeca this year. And I pulled out the calculator, and the numbers I thought were very low, what I would call abysmal. In a city of 27% Latino population, for this year to be only 8% Latino filmmakers, I think it's bad. And that's an increase from last year and the year before, which were 5%. So you can say, well, we're steadily going up. But you know what? At what point?
So this is about the Tribeca Film Festival.
Right.
And you wrote about it. It's called Latino Call to Arms for not supporting Tribeca Film Festival. So you write this piece. It goes on Latino Rebels. You start sharing it. Like you said, you're not someone that is ready to, you took a stand. You took a stand. You took a very public stand.
But I've done stuff over the last 5 years to try and increase our deal to get us involved. And either ignored, not fully brought in, so that at one, just because we're Latino, we love lucha libre, hypothetically, doesn't mean we like to fight all the time. But at what point must we not defend ourselves? And hence the call to arms. And that's why, after a few years of standing at the gate and asking can I come in and stuff like that, and the gate's not opening, at that point we need to pound on the doors. And one of the best ways is always, as many social movements and civil rights movements have been hit, is you hit them in the pocket. You say, we're not going to participate. We're not going to support. And I was very clear in calling it not supporting the Tribeca Film Festival this year rather than a boycott. Because some of our members, part of the network, were in the film festival this year. And we needed to support them. And we did support them. But in general, the objective was not to support the film festival. And then the other part, on top of only 8% of Latino filmmakers were telling their stories, I thought the prices were very high for our community, for our independent filmmakers, and for our community at large. When you have ticket prices from $23.50 to $43, it prices many of us out. And, Prime Latino Media has made partnerships with other film festivals. We just finished the Havana Film Festival in New York, and they were like, okay, your members, $9 tickets to come in.
Right.
Work with us. I mean, we want to be in the audience, and we want to be on the screen. All we want to be is to get a chance at that. If you don't like it, want to be in it, that's completely different.
Yeah. So let me ask you, you talk about that it used to be a lower percentage, and now it's 8%. I've seen let's just say there's probably like about 10. It might be like, it's still a handful of films. There's probably like 100 plus films at the festival.
102 feature films.
Right. And about Latino directors, probably like 8. Okay. And so,
but filmmakers, there are stories told about the Latino community, but we're not telling those stories. And so there's Latino films.
Yeah, so there are Latino films that are not being directed. You're saying that there are films that have like content that's Latino centric, but the directors are not Latino. Is that what you're saying?
My definition of multimedia makers and actors is the director, lead producer, writer, and lead actor is Latino. By my standards, it's a Latino film. Alfonso Cuarón's Academy Award-winning Gravity was a story about 2 people in space, 2 white actors, George Clooney and Sandra Bullock, shot in space, but it was by a Mexican director. And to me, it's a Latino film. So when you look at the credit, and you see we don't occupy director, we don't occupy producer, we don't occupy, writer, we don't occupy lead actor, but it's a story being told about it's not a Latino film. It's a film about Latinos, but not told by Latinos.
Got it. So let me ask you that. So basically, the representation of films at Tribeca has been pretty low, given if you take into account just the Latino population in the United States, let alone New York. It's still not representative of either New York or the national population. So
it's also an international film festival in regard to there's 20 countries that comprise Latin America, 5 countries with presence. Brazil and 4 Spanish-speaking countries. Those were the 5 countries out of 20. So, and out of short films, 5%. It was 5% of short films were by Latino filmmakers. And so the other issue was the pricing of tickets.
Right. So let me ask you then, has anyone even responded in, whether it's from Tribeca or places since you've written this piece, has anyone said like, oh wow, like this is a problem, or what are you doing? Like, this is not a problem. Like, has there been any response at all from Tribeca at all?
Well, first of all, in their defense, they were in the midst of producing a major film festival. Again, it's one of the top 10 film festivals that has come about in the last 15 years, taking place in New York. So in their defense, they were in the midst of a film festival that is just concluding today. This is a matter that, whether they reach out to me or not, I'm going to reach out to them. But I thought it was incumbent upon me to rally our community of multimedia makers, actors, and musicians, and the general public, and say, we're not happy with this. And, and shame on us if we don't do something about this.
So what do you mean by call to arms? What would you think are the filmmakers to do?
Harm is just be aware. Number 1. Number 2, it's up to you whether you want to go and pay for tickets to see their films or any of their activities or not. And that one way we can really affect a change is by saying either we're taking our marbles and playing another playground, or we're not going to play any sandboxes. That's all. And I think that's a statement within itself. As we've seen historically and in other communities and other sites, this had not been undertaken 50 years ago in Selma, in, contesting the fact that blacks were not allowed to register in their local courthouses. Where would we be worse than we are today in regards to voter registration, which is another story. If this had not been the case in 1969 in Stonewall, when a bunch of LGBT people said, you know what, we're not going to take this anymore from the police, and they fought back. This is how you affect a social change, by getting a community to come in a cohesive way and to respond.
Now,
let me go ahead.
There's also the issue of that in your article you had mentioned that the International Latino Film Festival out in New York City has been going on for about 3 or 4 years.
4 years in New York and 3 years in LA. We have not had an international Latino film festival in New York. It's our 4th year, and LA is our 3rd year. So we're talking the 2 largest media capitals in the country. New York and LA now have. Because, so what I'm also very careful about, and, want to hear from the 2 of you, is it's very easy to say also, when I'm also advocating being home-based, we need to have our own film festival. If New York and LA, or New York or LA, you can't have a preeminent Latino International Film Festival, shame on us. But what I also want to be careful is, which you'll hear historically from other organizations, when we're trying to be mainstream, this is also what it's about. When you want to play in a mainstream card, in arena, it's sort of like, what coconut and chocolate chip and mint? Why can't we go into Baskin Robbins? Why do we have to open up our own ice cream parlor? So I want to be careful that they, it's not limited to, or that it doesn't come and shoot us in the foot, where they say, well, open up your own film festival. That's where you should be screening your stuff. When we're saying, no, we want mainstream opportunity. Our actors want to cross over from Latino into mainstream, from Spanish language into English language, from English language into Spanish language. The same for our filmmakers, as Alfonso Cuarón has done, who's crossed over from being a proficient filmmaker in Mexico in Spanish language cinema, and boom, he's part of Hollywood now. And we're never going to get in there if we don't get access to being part of these games that also open doors to lots of networks, power players, and also funding to do current projects or future projects. This is the bigger picture that I'm fighting and we need to fight for. Because these doors are open when people participate in the preeminent film festival. So we're not allowed to play. This is how we pay by non-participation.
And in your article, you had also mentioned, I think it was before the article was written, that you had reached out to them concerning this in order to work with them. So what has been your history in terms of collaborating or working with them or attempting to?
Well, like 5 years ago, the Tribeca Institute wanted to genuinely meet Latino filmmakers, and they asked, knowing my relationship with the community, introduce them to, what they were seeking and what they found also is proven multimedia makers. So we had a meeting. I brought in 11 top filmmakers here in New York who have a track record. They met with them, and what came out of that, at that time there was a Heineken Bosset grant of $50,000 that no longer exists, but it was a fund of $50,000 that would be given to several filmmakers. And one of them was Christine Ibarra, who went on to do the documentary Las Martas that went on to air on PBS nationally. So that was something that started then, but, and so they would pay to me, because of the Heineken Bosset situation. We wanted to throw a party, and we wanted to be a Latino filmmakers party. And can you open up, your database and invite Latino filmmakers? You know what? That's cute and sexy, but we don't need a party for one night. We do that very well by ourselves as Latinos.
Yeah, we can party. The party part I'm not worried about.
Right. And so, when that then will cut us solely, and then I have subsequent meetings and say, what else can we do for these filmmakers? How can we open more doors? How can we create greater opportunities for them? Everything from funding their projects to distribution. Because that's all our people need. They need 2 things. They need to fund their film, and one completed distribution channels for it. So when it's like, no other resources, no other ideas, and then, so just knocking on the door and offering to make things available and not being taken seriously. So at a certain point, you're like, you know what? I'm going to take my marbles and I'm going to play elsewhere.
So what's been the reaction? I mean, you shared this. What have people told you? What can you tell us? What else benefits the conversation? You don't have to tell us what people have told you privately.
No. We've gotten everything, as you will get in any healthy exchange, especially within our community. And realize this isn't just a battle of this film festival. It's not just a battle of the last 4 years. This is the battle that many of us who've been advocating for our community for over 20 years. We're sick of these conversations. We're sick of these arguments, sick of these debates, because it's the same glass ceiling, same brick walls that, we've been trying to chip at. As some people want to go to Hollywood, and I say, you know what, screw Hollywood. Make a great independent project, and Hollywood will come to you. That's how the Alfonso Cuarons and all the others who have made it, as we've had 3 years in a row, Best Director, be a Latino. I mean, there's something happening here, something great, yet it's still the pendulum is swinging left to right. 3 years consecutively, we've had Latino film in major Academy Award categories. And then on the other hand, only 8% when they made a concerted effort this year, and they're very proud of it. And as a feminist, I celebrate it. Jane Grace Rosenthal, the co-founder along with Robert De Niro to the Tribeca Film Festival, has proudly touted that this year, 33% of the films were by women. When the realistic numbers in the industry is less than 5% of women get their stuff out there. So what does that mean? That means there was a concerted effort, there was a lobbying force that made it happen in a cohesive fashion, so that this year they can say 33% of our films are by women. That's fabulous. We need our numbers to rise. We're not pleased with 8%. 8% is not good enough. In a city of 27%, yes, it started out of a hole-in-the-wall film festival because of 9/11. But now you've become one of the top 10, and there isn't room for us who've been part of the city, who helped you from the very beginning of the film festival, and helped with 9/11 and that whole region and so on. Wait a second, this is adding up, and you know what? We're not happy. We're not going to take it anymore.
It's not like you can't find Latino filmmakers in New York City.
From Latin America to Spain, throughout the U.S., in English and Spanish, So when you're asking what's feedback, because of you're putting it in Latino Rebel, International Documentary Association, which is the preeminent documentary org in the country, run by Simon Kumari, who used to run POV for PBS, has now gone to the West Coast, put this as one of the top hit situations happening in the industry this week, or not being happy with what's happening at Tribeca. So that's great. Have we gotten negative feedback from even within our community? Absolutely. There was someone, as we posted on different networking groups that mirror our like-minded objectives. Someone came back and said, "Oh, you're probably just pissed because you didn't get your film into Tribeca, and now you're taking it out against them." You know what? I've done 70 documentary shorts that have ranged from film festivals around the world, HBO Family, and a few features that have gotten on PBS nationally. I'm no longer doing my own stuff. What I'm now doing is advancing the projects and careers of others. So there isn't a vendetta here. What's happening here is we're trying to chip away at the wall, and all we're asking for is an opportunity for serious consideration. And if you can't find the film, we can help bring them to you. And then from there, select. But we can at least help increase that percentage. Because if you can have 33% of the films devoted to women, I think we can do a little higher than 8%.
Yeah, Louis, we really appreciate your time. Keep us posted. We're really happy that we got you published, and we're really happy that you shed some light on this. And we're gonna have to see you next time in New York, but hopefully you're wearing a shirt.
I will, and I'm going straight for that glass of wine. Thank you very much to the two of you for the oportunidad. Muchísimas gracias. And this is really how a community progresses forward. Because you know what? I can't do it alone. We can't do it alone. And by forging and creating alliances, this is how we're going to make a difference. This is rocket science. So, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Los adoro. Me encanta lo que ustedes hacen. And we're 100% with you. Okay?
I mean, come on. How can Louis in your life every week? Did you just get, first of all, I just want to say one thing. I want to know what his landline is, because that's some serious phone voice. That's some serious radio voice right there. Like, there was some, I mean, it was like, I'm like, but he's a sweetheart, and he has seen a lot, and he has given back a lot, and we're really happy to have him. I mean, Treese, you're kind of in this world. You know, you're a filmmaker, document Jen. You know, you know the hustle.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
I mean, what's your thought on all this?
Yeah. Well, I guess what I didn't know, because I didn't know if that was something that Louis could speak on it. Why are these Latino International Film Festivals no longer around? So that's concerning. And
that's a question we got. I think someone sent it in and we didn't address it, but we'll look into that. But continue.
Yeah, if those what's causing that is the lack of funding, like for this organization, and so yeah, it's very important to be able to kind of get into the film festivals that cater more to like the general market, because it's not the word the outlet. Especially for so many independent filmmakers. These are their outlets. These are their big chances. Just here sitting on Los Angeles. So it is concerning. And it wasn't something that I was actually, considering I'm in Los Angeles, something that I wasn't really aware of. That the International Latino Film Festival weren't longer around. So that's the part that says, well, what's happening in the industry? And it's just really hard, because it seems like there needs to be some kind of organization that channels and bridges to bigger film festivals to kind of help with the submission process. And if they're not there, then it's like, how are we going to get there?
Yeah, no, I did.
The filmmaker doing it on your own, it's like.
Yeah, and also there's a lack. Yeah, there's a lack of people internally. So I think perfect example is like who's fighting for you in these organizations. Like who? Yeah. And
there needs to be some kind of pipeline. Between these organizations and these film festivals. As an independent filmmaker on your own, you're already just overwhelmed with trying to take a shower and get have that budget to make your film. Everything else is really overwhelming. That's supposed to be part of these organizations that form these pipelines. I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah, and the other thing is, there's other organizations like Naive that we're fans of, and things that Louis does, and everyone does great work. One of the things that we find, we get pitched constantly on a lot of independent filmmakers pitch us a lot, and we're very selective. Latino Rebels is very selective in sharing some of the films. But I think people like the mezcla, like Vanessa Razo, she's a big, if you're not following Vanessa on Twitter, or the mezcla, or what they're doing on Facebook, you should, because they do a lot of good work in the film work.
Right.
But I do think there's a balance, right? Because I think the tension between celebrating and then saying this is not enough, that's a constant point of dialogue, right? That just can't be like, hey, we're at 10%, yay, Tribeca, or whatever. Yay, good for us. And I think that's what Louis' point is trying to be. It's like it's not good enough. And if that sounds a little bit, it could turn people off, right? But that's the reality.
Yeah.
You have to continue to say like,
and not just get filmmakers from other countries to get. If you're talking about cities like New York and Los Angeles, we're the local filmmakers. The local Latino filmmakers that are right in your backyard. They're like super talented. And funny enough, just to add to it, I've been going to the Los Angeles Film Festival for about the past 3-4 years. I even volunteered there. It's right in downtown Los Angeles. It's really cool because, anyone from all over the city can get to downtown Los Angeles. You can move it over to the west side, close to Culver City.
If someone says experience LA with you, I know exactly what you're talking about. So continue, because I know
Yeah, so it's just like, why are you moving the LA Film Festival all the way out to the west side? Like, what about people from East LA that want to go check out the LA Film Festival in downtown with a different location? I mean, if that's, granted, it's, I understand that, more theater or whatever, but it's just like a fake grade, like LA Film Festival is getting, gentrified, only going to where, you have to pay more for parking now. You have to, before you could just literally get off the metro and walk to it a few blocks if you wanted to. Now it's you have to drive there, you have to pay for parking. So it's only people with more money are going to be able to go to it. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to catch it. I think it's just too far for me. And who wants to pay for that much parking? It's really going to cost you $50, $55. So I just got the frustration. It's literally, the reason how.
Well, listen, we were going to talk about the diaspora summit that happened at the Center of Puerto Rican Studies, but our guest that gets called in, that's the director of Center for Puerto Rican Studies. We wanted to talk to the person that organized it, and it was the diaspora summit. So what I think I'm going to do here, and this is why it's live radio, we're going to go talk about this Mike Pete ad. Let's play it first, okay? I'm going to play it first. It's an ad by a candidate for Congress out of Kentucky, the 1st District. Just so people know, he's a Republican, just in case you had any questions. I'm going to play the ad it's called Stop, and it's basically the people out on TV, you can see it on LatinoRebels.com, with the lovely headline, Mike Pate Congress ad is as racist as censored word. So you can just believe, you can just conclude as to what the Latino Rebels editorial board thinks about this ad. It's basically 3 dudes. I don't know if they're Hispanic or Latino or whatever, but they have mustaches, and it's like watching a car crash. So let me just play the ad, and we'll go from there. Stop that, Trump. That's not you. You don't like me. Oh, my case. My case. Conservative right of Congress will just build the wall. What is my case? I'm that rich to kill Obamacare. See? You just don't like me. Yeah. I'm like David. I approve this message because no one will stop me from standing up for you. Okay, Mike Pate. That is the ad. To put it in context, it's 3 guys. They're at a fence. Obviously, you think, let's believe that it's a border fence. They are breaking into the fence, and some of them are talking in accents. I don't know. First of all, I don't even know why this ad's even out. I don't even know. I just have to step for a second. But it's ridiculous. I mean, the ad is outrageous. The ad should be condemned by any self-serving Latino, no matter your political belief. So anyway, so here's the thing, Sharice. We actually reached out to the Mike Pate campaign to talk to see if he would come on. We haven't heard from him. So I just want to put this in the context that we did reach out to the Pate campaign to say, why don't you come on and talk to us about your racist ad?
It's such a good journalist, Julio.
I know, and I'm just trying to be safe because that's just going to give you the opportunity to proceed to get wrap on in these 3 minutes. What do you think of the ad?
Okay, so I was actually really confused when I saw it.
Right.
Because obviously I saw the commentary on LatinoRebels.com, this is a no limit. And I was confused because I see those guys are ready for event, and they have shirts that says Stop Trump, right?
Right.
In English. And they're talking to each other in English, right? And they look like Latino or something, like Chicano, like, I don't know, but they're talking in English and wearing Trump shirts, and they're cutting through the fence.
Don't forget the mustaches. Don't forget the mustaches.
Do they have mustaches? Okay, I
yeah, because every Latino, every Mexican, every Chicano, every Puerto Rican, yeah, we all have mustaches, all the dudes.
Yeah, like just like yours, right?
Yeah, totally. Like, you know how bad my mustache was, but continue.
So I was actually confused and didn't understand that these were supposed to be like, I guess, Mexican cutting through the border.
Yes,
you know,
that's what they were.
So I'm like, you're Mexican. Like, so I was confused, and then afterwards I had to like replay it. So I'm like, oh, they're trying to act as like you're Mexicans going from Mexico into the U.S. to stop Trump and stop Mike Page because apparently he's going to be the one that's going to help
build the wall.
So
right.
It was some horrible act.
But let's look at that before I cut you off because there's so much to discuss. But even look at it from a content editorial point. The fact that there's a fence, right, and they're saying you're going to stop them from building the wall. Like, there's already a fence. Like, what are you building?
Right.
You already built. You know, so that's my meta comment of this. What it clearly shows, I think.
If you don't understand their English, but they're already speaking their subtitles on top of that.
Right. The only time they speak Spanish is like they say three things like "sí" and "vámonos" and "señor" like they. So it's like, oh yeah. I just want to know like who pitched this or who came up with this. Like who thought this out? Like who really like sat here and said like we're gonna do a viral video for you. Mike Page for Congress, Kentucky's first congressional district. Just so you know who Mike Page is, he's a constitutional conservative. He's going to stand up for you against the establishment and special interests. Very nice. He's also been a leader on the issue of illegal immigration and border security since the earliest days of this election because, to be honest with you, Kentucky is, the border of Kentucky is just, ridiculous. You got to put up a wall there. Because here's the thing, after the Paris attacks last year, Mike Page stood up and he called on members of Congress to acknowledge that border security is a matter of national security, and open border policies put us at risk. So already you see Mike Page saying, well, there was an attack in Paris, so this means that it's Mexico's fault, which already we know what he's standing for. So basically, he is running on illegal immigration, border security, and he's saying that it's threatening our national security. He wants to repeal Obamacare, and he wants you to read a letter from Ronald Reagan. So that is Mike Page's campaign platform. But it just seems that it's so obvious how the racism, and there's a bigger discussion, but the racism, particularly against the Mexicans, has become so enabled. The Donald Trump comments of last June, which I don't want to say it, but I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so, people. There's a lot of people that called Trump out, a lot of Latino journalists, a lot of Mexican American journalists, everybody called him out. It was mostly like the Latino journalists saying, and everyone laughed it off. And guess what? Now everyone's talking about Trump's hateful rhetoric and that it has an impact. And guess what? It has an impact. Now you have a viral video on YouTube showing, this bizarre, fear of whatever. I don't even know. It's like English-speaking Mexicans who speak Spanish when they have to, which I'm still whatever. But this seems to be a deeper thing that that now it's pretty clear that politicians in this country, no matter where they are, especially mostly conservatives, no matter what part of the country, they're going to run on this issue of we got to protect the world from, got to protect the American from the Mexicans. Because Mexicans are really terrorists and ISIS, and we, so what happened, Shrees? Like, what has happened?
And for people who might not know their geography, I will hold it up right now. Kentucky is surrounded by Indiana, Illinois, Tennessee, and West Virginia. It's nowhere near any border. So, piggyback with what you're saying is like they're just running off of this rhetoric off of Donald Trump platform to get the vote when it probably really isn't an issue. Immigration probably isn't even an issue in the state. I can't say that, but it's just geography.
No, wait. I'm going to talk to you about this. I am actually going to, I've actually done a little work about the undocumented immigrant population in Kentucky. And before this ad plays from the article that I'm posting, and this is actually from USA Today, and it came out in 2014, and this is what you need to know. It's in the Louisville Courier Journal. So let's assume, right? Let's assume that my case is right. Which I'll play this game. I wish I had my pick line. I wanted to have my pick line. But listen to this. So, so Kentucky, okay, supposedly has seen a significant drop in the number of unauthorized immigrants. They've gone from 50,000 in 2009 to 35,000 in 2012, right? So unauthorized immigrants make up less than 1% of Kentucky's population of 4.4 million people and 1.2% of Kentucky's labor force. So we're talking in a state of 4.4 million people, less, about 1% of the population. I don't think that's a pretty significant thing. And I'm sure, like Dave, if you break down, Sharice, I'm going to admit this really straight up. I know nothing about Kentucky First District, and I don't pretend to.
Okay.
But this is clearly not based on any fact. It's just like, hey, who's going to vote the law in Mexico? And here's the most racist ad in the campaign season running, and I'm just surprised that you would think that more Latino organizations would just call this ad out, no matter your political stripe. But am I wrong? Am I wrong about that, Sharice?
I mean, I don't even know if wind of it. I mean, we're not the wind of it.
I'm going to get Sharice back on, but I guess I'm all by myself here. This is what happens when I don't have a producer. Let me try her again. I was totally having this incredible conversation with Sharice, and then I lost her. Sharice, I got it.
Yes, you hear me? Earth Radio.
This is live radio. I don't know if I hear you or not. And let's see if we lose people. Anyway, it seems like we lost people. I'm just gonna have to close with the outro, and we're out of here. Latino Rebels Radio. I'll play everything. Hey.
What happened?
I know what I did wrong. What? I didn't even talk about Kentucky. I totally lost everything. You know what it is? An ad popped up in this article that I wrote about. And boom. And the volume killed the entire board. So did you hear me at least talking about Kentucky?
I had heard you all the way through, and when you called my name, and then shut down.
Did you know why? Because I didn't have my volume on one part of the board. Isn't that crazy? Like, this is when I need, like, Christian. Like, it's Alright, and I started playing off lyrics. So, guys, this is live radio. This is what happens to you have live radio. This is what happens when we don't edit things. We're not like a podcast that like.
Wait, are we still on the radio?
Yes, we're still on the radio.
I when in doubt, here's one of the rules about Latino Rebels Radio. When in doubt, play La Plebe. I just remember. Like, when there's like silence, play La Plebe.
You can go straight to La Plebe. I'm like, oh, it's over.
It's over. Like, I actually now want to go on the Twitter feed and see what people say about those 3 minutes. Oh my God, no one said anything. No one's listening to us, Reese.
Except me.
Oh, actually, I will say one thing. Totally wrong. People are actually listening to us. They're listening to us on audiobook. We actually got some really good listenership last week about the Julian Castro interview. The discussion about progressives and Julian Castro. We have not had the secretary on, but we're going to get him on soon. But that was, I had this button, like, this is what happens when you don't have a producer. Alright, so, so anyway, back to Kentucky. So my page is basically like talking, as they would say, as my in-laws would say, he's talking ragtime. That's my new, he's talking ragtime. There's not even a significant number of, unauthorized immigrants in Kentucky. But just so you know, Kentucky also has denied immigrants from getting driver's licenses. So, it's a pretty conservative state.
Really?
So, it's really easy to blame the Mexicans, which happen to be anybody. Anyone who is brown is Mexican in Kentucky, probably. In the eyes of Mike Tate. But I really wish Mike Tate called us. I really wish he emailed us. It would have been a really good conversation to have with him. I would have loved to have known how they created the ad, whether it was an ad, like who brainstormed it, like who storyboarded it. I want to know about the actors. Like, do they get paid? Are they union? Like, is it equity? Have to play. I guess.
What are these actors? Would be willing to do this commercial. And are any of them Latino? Why would you do something like this? If you're Latino. Why would you want to do that?
Anyway, so, to Latino Rebels Radio, we had a little technical difficulty, but we're back on. It's, I don't know, but the bigger question I had for you, Sharice, and this was before when I wanted to bring you back on and I pressed the wrong button. Talk to me about the Trump effect and how this is something like a Mike Tate ad is actually pretty dangerous in this context.
Well, it's racial profiling already, and I think that's what the Trump effect is doing. I think the scary part of the Trump effect and me being Mexican and seeing the Trump effect is when a person in power like Donald Trump when we start targeting ethnic groups, right, as opposed to addressing the law or things that you feel as politicians need to get reformed, start targeting ethnic groups, right? That becomes really dangerous. And obviously, it breeds hate, and racism. And it's just, I get concerned about, is this going to increase, acts of violence, against Mexicans? Is this going to, and especially against, Mexicans who may be undocumented? How do we know, what if something happens to them and they're afraid to speak out, afraid to call the police? It's like they got beat up on the street. You know what I mean? By some racist assholes. You know what I mean?
I know. Yeah.
It's scary. color, and people might think, oh, you're so radical. It's not. When you're part of that ethnic group, and you're being targeted, it's freaking scary. You know what I mean? And it raises the alarm. And especially when ethnic groups are being targeted, as just like the Jewish people were targeted, because of the fall, because of the sales.
Right. Yeah. I'm with you there. I mean, going back to Mike Tate. I mean, you would think Mike Tate would want to talk to us because we're looking at his Twitter profile. It's at Tate for Congress, and it's Tate PAPE 4 Congress, and he only has 159 followers. I'm like, okay, Mike, come on, you want to talk to us? You totally want to talk to us. The funny thing is, 2 of those followers we know, and I think they're just following Mike Tate because of his ridiculous racist ad, and they're kind of waiting for him to say something else pretty stupid about Mexico. But I'm like, I would love to have Mike Tate on the show. I think we had a really good discussion. I'm a little bit bummed that he would never, I don't know. Maybe we had too many vowels in our name or something. And, although he has a lot of vowels too.
You know what it was? He looked it up on rebels.com and he sometimes got to know my cat. He's like,
that's a badge of honor. That's like an honor to get to know Ronnie. But here's the thing,
that's how shitty you are. Get to know my cat.
Come on, Mike Tate. Anyway, so, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I do think, I think groups have to speak out against this as well. And I think it can be just put in the context of partisan politics. And I think that's part of the problem with this, is that there's certain things that no partisan politics, and this is one of them. And I would think that Latino conservatives should speak out just as boldly and strongly, and I should take the lead on calling people out like Mike Tate if they really believe that Donald Trump is. I still don't know who they're going to vote for, who my Latino conservative friends are going to vote for. When Donald Trump is the GOP nominee, then that's going to be an interesting one. But anyway, so we didn't have another guest. We were supposed to have a guest talk about the Puerto Rican Diaspora Summit, which I was really looking forward to having that conversation. We had confirmed with the guest. The guest did not show up, and maybe they just forgot, and maybe they were watching Game of Thrones in Silicon Valley and realized that we're on live on Sunday, but we didn't have him on, so we apologize for not talking about the Puerto Rican Diaspora Summit. We might do it next week. Sharice, 2 things I gotta let you know. Ready for this?
All right.
So, May 5th, besides being people that like you, which is another problem. It just happens to be LatinoRebels.com's 5th year anniversary. And yeah, so yeah, there you go. And it wasn't like we were like, oh, let's start it. It just happened to be like we published the first thing on May 5th, and like a day later, we were like, oh my God, that's April and Mario. We totally messed that one up. It was a different time. But anyway, if you're listening to this, just know that there will be a special Latino Rebels podcast. It won't be live. And I'm going to do a special, where does Latino Rebels go next? Where does it go next for the next 5 years? And I'm going to totally, break it down like it's never been broken down before. I'm going to totally Mike Tate that podcast. I don't even know why I said that.
What does that even mean? I would just say.
But next week we should definitely do another show. I think we should do another show. Listen to us on Audio Boom. We want to thank Gil Louis for being on. That part of the show was a good conversation. I learned how to press the right buttons while doing live radio, so I always learn something new. But I think it's a good show. Good to have you back.
It is fun talking with you, Julio.
I know, I missed you.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna go now end this podcast and go listen to some Eminem with questions. Anyway, now we're gonna close. Now we're gonna close with La Plebe and Menos Abierta. That's what we're gonna do right now. We out of here, Latino Rebels Radio. We're gonna come to Saliste Galillo. Listen to us on audio boom. Email us, tweet us, tell us what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, and we're out of here. We have it. They rebelled it. They rebelled it.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio.